Thank you, Emma. That was beautiful, the song, the prayer. If you ever get a chance, it's usually sung as a duet, I think. Andre Bocelli has sung it with, I'm not sure who, and also Josh Groban. But if you get a chance, Andre Bocelli, I think, would be the first choice. So, Happy New Year, everybody. And welcome to First Parish in Waltham. We're very glad you're here with us this morning. Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you're welcome here. Okay. We try as best we can to make our service as accessible as possible. We have assisted listening devices, and we have large print versions of service materials, including our hymnals that are available from our ushers. Our weekly newsletter is available in paper copies at the entrance to the building. And if you'd like to have the newsletter emailed to you, you can speak to a greeter or usher. And also, you can find it on our First Parish Waltham website under the section for news. Are you empowered by flowers? If so, you can. There is a sign up to provide flowers for our Sunday service in the newsletter. Pastoral care is available to everyone, newcomers, members, and visitors alike. And so please reach out for any assistance. We have an inclement weather plan. If the weather outside is frightful or dreadful, Sunday services may be canceled or held only on Zoom. And updates will be posted by 7 p.m. the day before in the newsletter and on our Facebook page. Other church activities, in the case of severe weather, may be canceled or rescheduled. And if there are non-church events, please contact the organizer. Today, the adult faith formation will meet from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the Harrington room and also on Zoom. I think they use the same link as the link to our service for you folks on Zoom. Did I introduce myself? No, I got off track. My name is... All right. You can all say it together. No, I'll say it. My name is Michael Carmody, and I serve on the Board of Managers as the Music and Worship Commissioner, and I'm a 70-year-old white male with silver hair and my orange vest. Okay, here we go. Where were we? Jones Partnership Fund for 2026. Applications are now open. A First Parish sponsor is required. Sponsor requests are due by January 5th, and applications are due by February 2nd, 2026. Contact Marty Ahrens with any questions you have about the Jones Partnership. Coming up is game night on Friday, January 9th, this coming week, from 6 o'clock to 9:30 in Whitcomb Hall. And contact Plum Kennard if you have questions about game night. There is a job listing, a job available for a reliable, nurturing person to join our Sunday morning nursery team. Applicants must be, this is a paid position, $25 an hour, and from Sunday at 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, now through June. Applicants must be 18 years of age or older and CPR certified. Contact April Rosario if you're interested or have questions. Thank you to the First Parish community for your generous winter donations to Chaplains on the Way. Many items have already been shared with our unhoused neighbors. Please check our newsletter for current needs that are ongoing, and thank you for your continued support. The book club will meet Thursday, January 15th at 12:30 in the Harrington Room and on Zoom to discuss the book Quiet by Susan Cain. For Zoom details, please email Martha Gallagher. After coffee hour, we ask that folks exit via the office door, not the front door of the sanctuary. And that's it for today's announcements. We ask you please check that your cell phone and other electronic devices are silenced. And now, please turn around and wave to our participants, our congregants on Zoom this morning. There you go. Thank you. Oh! And breaking news. This was an ad thing that I forgot. We'll be taking down the window wreaths after church, and your help is appreciated. We'll be removing the bows and decorations for use next year. So if you're available to help with us, that would be great.
Right here, right now, we are creating and sharing sacred space together. But what brings us here? We've all come for different reasons, from different decisions, faced different challenges, and shared different loves. And yet all our differences have led us to this space, this time, this moment, right here, right now. Some believe we're here for a greater purpose. Others hold fast to the claim of complete coincidence. And there are still many of us that lie somewhere foggily in between. Between us all, there are so many differences, sometimes even barriers. It would seem at times that the odds were stacked against us at becoming a whole. We believe different things, live and experience different things, value, love, and loathe different things. We are children of God, children of the earth, fully grown adults here as a piece of the ongoing cycles of the universe, children of the stars. And yet we are here, right now, in this moment. Why? I don't know. But maybe it's because our revelations are not sealed. Despite all that is different, there is one thing that is certainty. One thing I know for certainty. One thing that is the same for all of us. Somehow, we are right here, right now. So let us continue creating and sharing sacred space together. Let us change and fight together. Let us adapt together. Let us grow together. Let us worship together. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is April Rosario. My pronouns are she, her. I'm a Black woman in my late 30s with shoulder-length dreadlocks, and I am so glad to be back with all of you. I have missed you. Sunday mornings are a special time, a time when we gather together to live out our dreams, to help each other, and to be part of something greater than ourselves. Because together, we find meaning and strength and love to help guide us in all that we do. We here at First Parish Waltham are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and that means that our tradition is a large tent with room for many beliefs and many approaches to life's big questions. And so it is not simply our beliefs that hold us together, but it is our principles and values. In just a second, I'm going to invite Elise up to light our chalice. But before I do that, I want to name something, and I want to hold space for something. Many of us woke up to news yesterday that was not what we were expecting. It changed us, it altered us. Many of us have big feelings about it. And in many congregations, UU congregations, and in other denominations, ministers around the world frantically ran to their computers and altered what they were going to preach about. I am not a minister, and it takes me more than a day to write a sermon, so I did not do that. And I didn't do it because I would have needed more than a day for it to be worthwhile and good. And I would have needed more than 24 hours to figure out what to say and how to say it to all of you. So I want to hold space for that some of you may have shown up today going, yes, that was in the newsletter, but obviously April's going to preach about what's going on in the world. And I want to hold space for that because I'm not a minister. What I can do is say that I am here. I am here for conversation, and I am here to talk, and I am here to hold space. And I did sprinkle some things throughout today's service, but I didn't completely flip what I was going to preach about because I wouldn't have been able to do it justice on 24 hours notice. That said, I'm really good at holding a container for a conversation. So I have something planned for adult faith formation after service today. But if we want to flip that and we want to talk about how we feel and the state of the world, we can absolutely do that. So I just want to name that and hold space for it and ask for your grace, as I am not a minister. And with that, I would like to invite Elise up to light this morning's chalice.
This morning's chalice lighting is Blessed is the Fire That Burns Deep in the Soul by Eric A. Heller Wagner. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life.
And now I would like to invite you all to rise in body or spirit and join us in whatever way makes the most sense for you for our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit, in the teal hymnal, and our lyrics will not be on the screen. So this is not teal, it's gray. I had gray in my hand. In the gray hymnal, my Post-it note is teal. standing, if you're standing, and if that feels good for your body, and join me in our unison affirmation. It begins with the word love. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated. So, our theme this month, we're in a new month, and our theme for the month of January is practicing resistance. And I wanted to take a little bit of a different take on resistance this first Sunday. I think as we go on through the month, we're going to be talking about the joy of resisting things, or the work we put into resisting things, or how resistance can uplift us. But I wanted to talk today about sometimes the things we resist because they're uncomfortable, or because maybe we don't like them, or because we're not really sure how we feel about them. Oftentimes, in UU churches, the word God is a thing we resist. So that's what we're talking about today. And I'm really excited about it, actually, because it gives me a chance to tell you my genuinely, truly favorite wisdom tale of all time. It is a UU wisdom tale. It is one of the first that I heard, and one that has sunk deep into my bones. And it's called Hide and Seek with God. And I would like to start it the way all of my favorites do, with Once upon a time, God was bored. Had nothing to do. So God decided to play a game. God gathered all the children of the land and said, "Let's play hide and seek. Here's how it'll work. In just a second, you'll all close your eyes and you'll count to 10. I'll go hide. When you get to 10, everybody spread out and find me." The children were excited, because who doesn't love a great game of hide and seek? So they closed their eyes and they counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They opened their eyes. God was gone. They each took off, some in a sprint, some in a skip, some in a walk, some in a crawl, but they each took off in different directions. One child didn't get too far. You see, they had started in a meadow. And after a few steps, the child stopped and noticed all of the new buds on the flowers, the grasses that were coming up out of the mud, the leaves on the trees that had this shiny green color to them. 2 more steps, and the child stopped dead in their tracks, raised their hand high into the sky, and screamed loudly, "I win! I win! I found God! I found God in the growing things." Child sat down and really just sunk into the growing things. At the same time, another child had gone a little bit further, had decided to climb a hill. They found a bench there. They sat down on it, wondering where everyone else had gone. Their legs were tired. They weren't sure if they wanted to play anymore. So they sat there through the day. until the sun started to set and the moon started to rise. And they noticed how the stars twinkled in the sky and how a hush had fallen over the land. The child jumped up, threw their hands into the air, and went, "I win! I win! I found God in the dark, in the mystery, in the night sky." Another child had gone a little bit farther. This child had gone out of the meadow and past the hill and down into the city. They were intrigued at a family they saw walking out of a grocery store, arms full of bags. 2 adults, a couple kids bickering, adults looking stressed. They were intrigued by this family. So they decided to follow them, and they followed them onto the subway. 2 steps onto the train, the kids really started fighting. One adult got angry, the other adult dropped the bag, oranges spilled, onions spilled, a loaf of bread got stepped on, and a stranger stood up. And without saying much, quietly helped collect all the food that had rolled all over the place. Then invited the kids to sit down next to them. They had a book in their bag, and they read them a story. At the very next stop, the child hopped off the train, landed on the platform, and screamed to the top of their lungs, "I win! I found God in the kind stranger that helps." 2 more children had decided to go together, and they traveled far and wide. They liked a little mischief. They liked a good bit of trouble. And so they found a house that they weren't really sure who lived in it. But the door was open, so they decided to go in. They found a mirror. They dusted it off and looked. Quickly, they both shrieked, "It's a tie! We win together! We found God in ourselves." One by one, the children started to return to the starting place of the game, saying, "I found God in the growing things. I found God in the dark. I found God in other people. I found God in myself." Another child saying, "I don't know where y'all were looking. I didn't find God anywhere." Another child saying, "I gave up. I don't like this game. I don't think I have to look." Another child saying, "I like the idea of the game, but I don't know if I'm ready to look. Maybe I'll try again next year." They all showed up with their different experiences. And as children do, they wanted to know who had won. God said, "I don't know. Let's play again. Close your eyes and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the game started over. The end. I love this story because for me, it is my understanding of Unitarian Universalist theology. I love this story because it asks questions and it gives permission and it opens doors. So that is your challenge this week, if you choose to accept it. What's your theology? Are you asking the questions? Are you opening the doors? Are you saying, "I don't want to ask the questions and open the doors, and I'm good with that right now"? What happens after you count to 10?
Our second hymn this morning is number 151 in your grey hymnal. And it's been performed by some amazing musicians, from John Denver to John Legend and the Roots. And you're about to join that amazing group of people. However, I'm likely to always associate this particular hymn with Eunice Kathleen Wayman. You may know her better as Nina Simone. She started playing piano at a really young age. She picked up by ear at around the age of 3 and was playing in a family member who was a minister. She was playing the hymns by the age of 10. She anticipated a career as a pioneering African-American classical pianist. She had a passion for Beethoven, she had a passion for Bach. However, her chosen institution turned round and said, no, thank you. She believes and stuck to the idea that it was racism that held her back. There hadn't been a black concert pianist, and they weren't willing to take that gamble. Instead, she resisted. She pivoted and said, I'm not going to find a different career. She took to teaching and took a gig in a bar playing piano late at night. The bar turned round and said, we'd like you to sing. And she went, I don't sing. I've been playing the hymns since I was little. I don't sing. And they went, well, you want the job, you want to be paid, you better sing. And she went, right, I'll give that a go. We know her as a singer, and I can't imagine how that would feel to somebody who had a dream to be very different. And I'd like you to consider going back to the YouTube when you've seen your Andrea Bocelli. Watch her performance, but do what pianists do. Watch her fingers. They are incredibly nimble across the keys. She's got an incredible voice, but those fingers are amazing. This is not an easy thing. And to help us find the right mood or groove, please consider transporting yourself to Nina Simone this morning. Really feel the weight of these lyrics. This is worship. This isn't a performance. You're not on the stage. Just live with, I wish I knew how it felt to be free. This song is known as a protest song for many, many groups. And maybe you don't feel totally free. Maybe it's not race. Maybe it's gender. Maybe it's your age. Maybe it's something completely different that stops you feeling completely free. Music is not in the dots or in the lyrics. The music is in the way you choose to sing it. Please rise in body or spirit. You're getting a short introduction, and then we're in for hymn number 151.
I hang on to something here. Hi, everybody. My name is Plum Kennard. I'm part of the lay pastoral care team, and I hope that you'll get in touch with us if you want to just be listened to. I'm white, I'm 76, and use she, her pronouns. So now is the time we can share joys and concerns. We're gathered together and, in love, and when you come up and tell us what you're thinking about and feeling, then we can hold you in our hearts. So come on up, and Ken will light a candle and then give the candle back to Ken, and then come all the way up here and use the microphone. Oh, and you can put something in chat and I'll read it later. So Ken's going to light another candle for the things that we can't really talk about, and we hold you in our hearts. Thank you. And you can come up later and light candles if you like. Thank you.
As Unitarian Universalists, we tend to all, individually and collectively, do things our own way. Some churches start their service at 8, some at 9, some at 10, some at noon, some have nighttime services. We cling to our individuality, our freedom to be ourselves. Culture creates congregation. But this morning, whether services are at 8 or 9 or 10 or 12, regardless of time zone, UU churches are doing something together. They are sharing in a prayer. This prayer was written by the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association, and is entitled Caracas, January 3rd. So I invite you to take a breath. Find yourself in your body and join me and other UUs across the world in prayer. There is something simple which power forgets, and clouds of smoke and the roar of rotor blades cannot conceal. There are people there, wherever there is, on the front lines of every empire's effort to manifest dominion. Just people. Running on the sidewalks, panicking at the borders, cans of food and children's toys rattling even now in the trunk of a car that today still starts. Just people there. In doorways and on freeways, praying for a place beyond the bombs without ever knowing the plans of men with pens that write orders and suits, worth more than this month's rent, and declarations that burst forth in fire when the children should be sleeping. Just people there. So on this day, we pray strength unto all, upon all, to meet this time with courage and grief and remembering and reminding that in that place where they are, among them, there is only all of us. Just people there. Our opening and our invocation this morning, one of the reasons I chose it is the first line asks how or why we got here. It's a question that I love to answer. It's a question that comes from kids and adults. Why do we go to church? What's the point? And there's so many answers. But as we get ready to give our offering today, I want to answer that question with one of the answers that I think in times like this resonates with me most. Why do we go to church? We go to church because together we create brave space. Because there's no such thing as safe space. We exist in the real world. We carry scars, and we all have caused wounds. But in this space, we seek to turn down the volume of the outside world. We amplify voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be. But it will be our brave space together. And together, we will work side by side to keep it. So, as we gratefully give and generously receive this morning's offering, may we do so knowing that that offering helps keep this brave space running.
Nay. Doom ticka doom doom doom. Doom ticka doom doom doom. Doom ticka doom 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 doom. Doom ticka 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 doom 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 doom. Doom ticka 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 doom 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 doom. Doom ticka doom doom doom.
The river is a healer. The river is a sage. The river knows no end, and the river feels no age. The river is a leader every single day. It's living in the moment, and it always finds a way. Water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. The river calls me over, it's calling out my name. In the day and in the night I hear that river all the same. It's calling me over, it's calling out my pain. Oh, a river gathers tears just like a river gathers rain. Water heal my body, water heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel home. The river is a traveler, always on the go. A river never worries if it's fast or if it's slow. River, take me to where I need to go. Oh, and I will just relax and let the river
heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Water, heal my body. Water, heal my soul. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. When I go down to the water, by the water I feel whole. Good morning. Today's reading is called What If God Was Water? What if water was God? Then that would mean that God is both in us and all around us, that God was both above and below us. Why a woman's water breaks when we were born, and why some religions observe the ritual of baptism. But if water was God, then that would mean that God has no gender, and that God takes the shape of whatever container God appears in, which would explain why there are so many different belief systems. Which begs the question, what is the spiritual significance of poisoning the water in Flint, Michigan? Or the oil burning in the Gulf of Mexico? Or the large islands of garbage floating in the Pacific Ocean? If water was God, would that not mean that every natural place is a holy place? Would it mean that every thunderstorm was a church without walls? And that when the rain falls, it's an act of God, death giving life, and when it evaporates again, it's the day of resurrection? If water was God, would it mean that life itself is just a test of learning how to be and flow like water, and how to give life to other people, and how to refresh their spirits and quench their thirst with your presence?
So many of you know my kids, but what you might not know is that they are growing up bilingual. My husband is Puerto Rican, and English was not his first language, nor was it his siblings, nor his parents. So while my children don't speak Spanish often, they do understand it. What they do speak is a lot of Spanglish. For a long time, they didn't realize that this was unusual. They just assumed that everybody lived in a world where words were incredibly flexible, where the meaning depended on the context and the tone and who you were talking to and where they were from. I went back to work when they were toddlers, and life got really confusing for them really fast. They suddenly discovered that a lemon wasn't both yellow and green. Because in our house, in their family's houses, it's just a lemon, regardless of the color. It's just a lemon. Slippers were even more confusing. You see, they had grown up in a world where slippers meant anything that go on your feet. Slippers, flip-flops, sandals, Crocs. The word was just slipper. The idea that there were house shoes and sandals and flip-flops and water shoes, too many words. Sweater was even harder. Anything that went over your shirt was a sweater. The idea that there could be a sweater that was knitted, but then a hoodie and then a jacket, too much. They said things like, don't forget to open the water. Don't forget to close the lights. Because they were growing up in a world where words were flexible. They were growing up in a bilingual family. What they quickly discovered, sometimes with frustration, sometimes with delight, and sometimes with, oh, that has nothing to do with English or Spanish. Mom just calls the yogurt ice cream because it's better for us. What they quickly discovered was that words don't name our reality. They just shape it. And that the same word can mean very different things depending on who is using it, what their language is, their culture, and their lived experience. Which brings us to the title of my sermon today. God, ... Do we do that here? ? This was a question that I was literally asked in this congregation last year, right before starting an adult faith formation group. And I loved the question. I was so excited about it. It was followed up with a lot of, oh, I think there's some there. I don't really know what the there is, but I think there's stuff there. Which led me to start asking questions. What is our culture as a congregation around the word God? Around theological words in general? Because if there's any word that carries more meaning and more weight and more baggage and more history and more emotion than slipper or lemon or jacket, in a UU context, it's the word God. Now, if you're feeling a little unsure, I've said this word many times in a short amount of time. That's okay. You're not alone. Some of us, and by us I mean folks that are in UU churches, some of us lean into this word. Some of us flinch at it. Some of us translate it really quickly in our heads so that it makes sense to us and we're more comfortable with it. Some of us skip over it altogether and start scrolling. Some of us go, oh, today was not the day. I should have just stayed in bed. Some of us start wiggling and fidgeting in our seat because we grew up in a culture where you don't scroll and you don't go, oh, today's the day I should have stayed in bed, but you're not really sure how you feel about it. So you don't really know what to do, and you hope that the person standing up here doesn't make eye contact with you and notice that you're fidgeting. And some of us go, oh, this is what I've been waiting for. I love this word. And some of us haven't made up our minds how we feel about it. And I love that. Because one of the foundational truths of our faith tradition is this: we do not ask people to agree about God in order to belong. We are not bound together by a shared creed, but by a shared commitment. And that commitment is to journey together, to seek truth together, to lean in together, and to hold one another in covenant when our theologies diverge. In our tradition, God is a word that comes with many translations. For some, God names a loving presence. For some, it names the ground of our being. For some, it's poetry. For some, it's a symbol. For some, it is 3 letters pushed together. And for some, it's a word that used to hold deep meaning, but now no longer doesn't. And for some, it is a word that we don't understand, but provokes questions. So when we ask, God, ... do we do that here? The UU answer is not a simple yes or no. It's yes and no and maybe, and we're still figuring it out. It's we do meaning, and we do mystery, and we do pluralism, and we do respect for everyone to understand this word in a way that is significant to them. Today's wisdom tale was genuinely my favorite of all time, Hide and Seek with God, because it gives us an image that fits this theology perfectly. God is not fixed or forceful. God hides, not to confuse us, but to invite discovery. And that's the really important word, invite. We've all been invited to things and we go, oh, I don't have the time or the patience or the energy or the strength to accept that invitation. In UU theology, God invites us into discovery, when and if and how we are ready. God shows up in unexpected places, in moments of connection, in acts of care, in the quiet awareness of that something matters. I love this story because in it reinforces the theology that God is not a single settled idea. God is elusive, playful, and relational, hiding not to be worshipped correctly, but to be discovered in the many places and many ways that discovery is possible. It names that some people find God in silence, some in community, some in justice work, some in nature, some in love. And it names that some of us aren't sure we even want to play the game. But we all recognize that an experience is being named. An experience that differs for everyone, and yet it is an experience. Our reading, What If Water Was God, pushes this metaphor even further. The images it creates debates the existence of water while swimming in it. It doesn't insist on precise definitions, but again invites questions. What if? This, I think, is Unitarian Universalism at its best, an invitation to question. We acknowledge that the most important realities in life often resist clear language. We know that words strain at the edges of experiences, and so we make room for new meanings, for new metaphors, for ways of understanding what we call something may not be what someone else calls something. James Luther Adams is one of the most influential UU theologians of the last century, and he understood this deeply. Adams believed that what matters most is not what we say we believe about God, but what our lives reveal about what we trust. In other words, in a UU congregation, theology is not something that we pass a test on. It's something that we live into. He preached that we show the world our own personal theology, not through creeds, but through commitments, not through declarations, but through devotion. He said, quote, whether people call themselves theists or atheists, the issue comes down to this: what is sacred, what is truly sovereign, and what is ultimately reliable. Sacred, sovereign, reliable. Just these are the qualities that have always been associated with deity. It would appear that even when belief in God ostensibly disappears, the attributes of deity remain and are attached to something that is not called God, but something that we find sacred, sovereign, and reliable. Here's your next challenge. What do you think of this idea? Does it make sense? Is it realistic? This quote is hundreds of years old. But I think even in this time, in this place, in the right here and the right now, for UU theology, it still holds. Because whether we use the word God or not, every one of us lives as if something matters most. And we orient our lives around that something that matters. We treat it as sacred, as sovereign, and as reliable. That's why some Unitarian Universalists define God as the principle or reality with which life would lose its meaning. For some, this definition opens a door. It allows integrity. It names something real without requiring a belief in a particular kind of being in a particular kind of way. And for others, it still feels like a stretch, trying to rescue a word that may still carry too much weight. Here's the other side of that UU coin. Both responses are welcome and wanted. Because as a faith tradition, we do not require you to like the word God. We do not require you to use it. And we don't require you to reject it either. What we do is invite you to reflect on it. So, instead of asking, do you believe in God? We ask, what do you hold sacred? What in this world would and should be protected at all costs? Human dignity, love, the earth, truth, community. What do you hold sacred? What do you hold sovereign? What are you willing to serve? What do you serve willingly? And what are you willing to serve? What has the final claim on your conscience when the stakes are high? And what do you find ultimately reliable? What do you trust with confident certainty, even when everything else feels uncertain? You might have been able to answer those questions the minute I asked them. You might have never thought about those questions before. You might be wondering if your answers match the person sitting next to you, or mine, or your friends, or your family. Here's the beauty. They don't have to. Because just like lemons and limes and slippers and sandals and sweatshirts and hoodies and jackets and sweaters, different words have different meanings for different people. So, God, ... do we do that here? ? You tell me.
And on that thought, if you will please turn to your hymnal, number 389 in the grey hymnal for our closing hymn, Gathered Here. If you look at the bottom, you'll realise that someone labelled this a gathering chant. And I disagree. And we're in a UU church, and so that's absolutely acceptable. I'm not looking to gather the Spirit only when I'm in this building. I'm wanting to gather the Spirit and take it with me on my week. And I'm inviting you to join me in singing this wonderful round, which the choir are going to support you with. We're in 4 teams. We will sing it through once. And then, hopefully, Leslie and Backwards are going to be team 1. So when we've sung it all in together, this group are going to start. This lovely group here is team 2, and we have Kay and Frank primed. Team 3 seems a little small this morning, so maybe we could be persuaded, please, to join them and make them a 5 instead of a 4. And then this is Team 4. When we get to the end of the round, please keep singing the last line. Spirit, draw near until we all get to the end. I'll play it through once, we will sing it in unison, and then we will start off on our journey of rounds.
At the heart of this faith. Each Sunday we leave this space and this time with a sense of that love and the strength and the hope for the week to come. Thank you all for being with us today. Go in peace, go in love. I'll light my hair on fire.